Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 131st video of my video journal series. Today's date is Friday, the 19th of June, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today I went to the city, obviously. I stayed there for a few hours. But one of the first things I noticed was near Town Hall Station, there was altercation between a taxi driver and regular driver. I believe it was the regular driver who tried to like swoop in front of the taxi, and the taxi driver was not pleased. So when he went up to the regular driver on his left, he just started swearing at him. I think he gave him the finger or something like that, the middle finger, and then he like drove off. But the whole altercation was around, I think, 10 to 15 seconds. And, it was a pleasant sight in the city. You can't have a day without a peeved off taxi driver. And it just got reminded me of, I guess, road rage. Have you ever had like an incident where you're out on the road, or maybe you just watch YouTube videos of people unleashing their road rage onto others? Sometimes it might be the other person's fault. Sometimes it might be their own fault. I know a lot. I watch a lot of dash cam videos, specifically the Australian ones. Australian dash cam videos, even Russian dash cam videos. The Russian ones are absolutely wild. In terms of what drivers do. But Australian dash cam videos, I think it's like one of my favorite YouTube channels. I think that's what it's called, Australian dash cam videos. So yeah, I absolutely love just seeing people make, I guess, not make mistakes on the road, but I guess it is sort of humorous to see people unleash their road rage, even specifically when they're the one who's, I guess, in the wrong, if you know what I mean. I just like seeing that sort of thing. I don't like seeing people getting caught up in accidents, though. And I think 9 out of 10 times, why traffic incidents are caused is due to impatience. People know the road rules. The vast majority of people know the road rules. It's just impatience. People like to make illegal turns, speed, and all that because they want to save time. You know, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it to save 5 seconds if it's going to cost someone else's life. Right? Drive responsibly. So yeah, that's what I like personally think about it because, some people are just really impatient when they're on the road, and hence that's why they unleash their road rage. Um, Other than that, though, I did hear a few beeps and horns throughout the city. People are learning other drivers maybe because of their driving skills. But no, it was a pleasant day out, and I went to St James railway station, which is a train station in CBD, and they still have like a map near one of the ticket gates. It's on like a wall. I took a photo of it. That's from like 2013. It's like a map of the Sydney CBD. Not from 2013. Sorry, 2005. Yeah, 2005. It's like a map of the Sydney CBD. And all like the transport options. It even has the old monorail. It's way before the metro, like nearly 20 years before the metro. You get to see all the old icons for the trains and all that. I'm like, why do they still have this map here? Like, sure, I like for them to keep it for preservation purposes, but they still have like a map plastered on a wall from like 2005. If you go to St James Station near where the Opal gates are, I believe it's like near one of the it's opposite to one of the convenience stores there. You should be able to find it. It should just be a map of the Sydney CBD, not a regular Sydney train map, just a map of the Sydney CBD. And you'll know it's old because I think it's just like 2005 on there somewhere. I took a photo of it. Maybe I'll upload it, but it shouldn't be hard to miss. Or have all the old icons for the trains and all that. So yeah, I found that pretty interesting. The fact that I guess there's old stuff at train station, old maps and all that haven't changed. I know at Central Station they still have like outdated maps where it still shows the T3 Bankstown line, even though that line doesn't exist anymore. And I know it's underneath conversion right now, and when it's Um, when the metro extension of Bankstown opens, I'll most probably change it. But like, it's really misleading to customers who like say, "Oh, if you to I'm sorry. Oh, I can just take a train from Central to Bankstown." Well, no, you can't. And what makes it worse is that they actually have the newer maps, so it just creates like confusion, like which one came first, if you know what I mean. Because a tourist coming to Sydney will not know the difference between the new and the old maps. In fact, they might think, oh, uh, this must be a new railway line, the one in orange. Well, no, the one in orange was the old railway line, um, you know, which was the color of the T3 Bankstown line, and now they have like the newer maps, which have the replacement buses in pink. So it's like pink throughout the way. Sorry. And like a regular tourist would be confused. Obviously, they can look at the display screens and all that, but I like, why do they still have outdated maps? Why did they change some maps but not others? At Erskineville Station, I know I've been through it. I've been past it. Sorry. They still have the old map with the T3 Bankstown line on one of the platforms. At least they have it. And I remember, I think I saw this online up until a few years ago. I believe it was Homebush Station or some other station like that in Sydney, which still had the T6 Carlingford line on it. And this was like in 2023 or 2024. The Carlingford line closed in 2020. Yeah. And that was going to be replaced by light rail, so not even remotely close. um, so yeah, I wonder what is like the most what is the most, I guess, out of date map currently at a Sydney train station? I bet you it's the one at St. James, and we're not counting like historical maps or anything like that. We're counting maps that were placed there, not like as a part of, I guess, as a historical display, but rather placed there because it was once useful to commuters. And it's been in the exact same spot since it was placed, but it hasn't moved, and it's just like obsolete sort of thing. Because I can understand if a station like I don't know if there's any train stations specifically in Sydney that come to mind where they have like a historical map on display of the old network. Um, but if they do, I won't really be counting that unless it's been in like the exact same spot all those years. But it's most probably been in like a museum and then back at a railway station. Hypothetically, maybe there is. I know in my mind. I think at St James they have like some displays of the old Sydney train network, but I think that's more like a museum piece. Um, so yeah, like I wonder what is like the most obsolete map currently at a Sydney train station. Um, that's been in the exact same spot, hasn't moved. It was once, I guess, an accurate map that showed commuters the proper way around, but no one's bothered to replace it. It's like no one bothering to replace like an old promo or sign outside their store. And it's just like sat there throughout the decades. The oldest one, yeah, would have to be that St. James one, I reckon. Unless, there's not many other options that come to mind. Um, I know museum has like a lot of old adverts and all that, but not like train station maps. Yeah. If you're in Sydney like me, leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear if you have found a map at a Sydney train station that predates the year 2005. All right, I like to see that. I like to compare. That's my mini challenge. If you're a regular train commuter, um, you know, and I guess you like looking at maps and all that. Can you find a map at a Sydney train station that predates 2005? Because that's the one. I think that's the lowest I can go in terms of years at St. James Station, unless they remove it. I know I'm gonna upload this video. There might be a small chance that they might remove it, but who knows? I got a picture of it. So anyway, I guess I can close that book. Enough talking about old maps at train stations. Um, oh yeah, and I have been you know, now talking about this, like I've definitely seen some old signs and posters and maps at train and bus stops and all that. It's really got my mind, I guess, jogging on these issues. I might bring it up later on in this series if I spot like any outdated maps that have clearly not changed or not been replaced in like 20 years. Um, so yeah, that'll definitely be, I guess, a recurring thing. But anyway, I gotta close that book. What else happened today? Nothing much, really. Like I said, I'm a little bit sick of, I guess, city life. So there's some days where I just want to like go out to the country. Um, Obviously, each has their own pros and cons. City life and country life. But I think when humans live in, I guess, the exact same environment over and over again, it does get quite mundane. And I would like to experience country life. I want to see what country life is all about. And I don't, I know I don't really have a car. It would make it hard for me to move around. I wouldn't mind, just moving to like a small town or something like that. A small town with like a railway station in the center, that still receives, I guess, like daily services. I wouldn't really mind that. Maybe when I'm older, because it's quite hard to find jobs out in the country, especially nowadays in the year 2026. It's really hard enough to find jobs in the city. Country might be a little bit harder. But yeah, obviously, I'm still looking for work. Still looking for like traineeships, apprenticeships, and all that. But it's still hard. And obviously, I'm not alone in this, but yeah, I guess is one of the big issues here in 2026. You got cost of living crisis. You got trying to find a job. It's way harder now because all these like AI interviews and you know all that. But come to think about it, in if like a couple of decades time, will actually be younger people, who will be most in demand, at least in like aged care, because we have like an aging population. We need more young people to take care of old people, but these old people, they're retiring in numbers, and meanwhile, there's like less and less young people. So, yeah, it is going to be an issue unless we, I guess, resolve it. Like a country like Japan, for instance, a country like Japan, for instance, um, you can already see their, I guess, birth rate declining and these sort of issues I'm talking about right now. Um, and obviously, yeah, I guess it doesn't really result in like a wage increase per se. Unfortunately, these type of jobs right now are low paying, considering the amount of effort that has to be put in, especially into elder care. So yeah, there is, I guess, that sort of problem, but who knows where the future will take us on that. What else? Yeah, that's been pretty much it. I am really hyped for Supernova tomorrow, so that's why I'm just gonna make this video a quick one. I have to get an early night's sleep, wake up early in tomorrow, go to Olympic Park, and I actually have a few more friends coming along. Um, there were some people who messaged me like last minute saying yeah they can come. So, yeah, we do have a sizable group. And as for what I'm gonna do tomorrow, I might just do I might not do the vlog. I might just do a video of me after the event explaining how my experience was, because I know I'm going to be dead throughout the vlog. I'm not going to be awake. At least when I'm here on the couch, I can feel relaxed. But when I'm like in a crowded environment, it's going to be noisy and all of that. I will certainly take pictures and all that video, but yeah, I don't think I'll be like ready to do a vlog. Maybe something will change my mind, but the current trajectory is yeah, it's just going to be me on the red couch tomorrow. Um, and I like to do more IRL vlogs and all that, but it has to be when I'm like energized and all that. I don't want to be sleepy and nearly fall asleep because I feel like I'm better on late. I'm better sometimes later on in the day than earlier on in the day, for instance. And obviously, yeah, that's been pretty much it. Maybe I'll talk well, even though I don't drive per se, because I started this video talking about like road rage, and that's why I kind of want to make this video focus upon. But then I talked a bit about old maps at train stations. But maybe I'll tap into a little bit more about road rage before I end this video. But yeah, even though I don't drive anymore, I still see a lot of road rage on the roads, especially on YouTube and all that. But um, I think it's just due to impatience. That's why you always got to be a cautious and patient driver. Even as a pedestrian, most of my time is just spent waiting for other cars. You know, waiting for the lights to turn green, and God forbid roundabouts. Worst nightmare for a pedestrian because they're always busy. There's always cars coming in at different directions. Sometimes there is no zebra crossing, so you just gotta like run across the roundabout. Yeah, roundabouts are my nightmare when it comes to, like, at least within a pedestrian perspective. For car users, it's like a dream. For pedestrians, it's a nightmare. Um, and yeah, it is. Car centricity and all that. It is a serious issue, and I believe there was a case in the news just recently when I believe it was a. Some of you may have heard about this, where I believe it was a mother's child passed away because they were hit by an SUV in the Sydney suburb of Canberra, I believe it was. And obviously, my heart goes out to the family. It was a very, very tragic event. And, I saw it on the news. And, it just, um, kind of broke me. And, obviously, it made me think a lot about pedestrian safety. The fact that this child was, I think it was in a pram, but yet again, though, yeah, and apparently, like the speed limit around that area on like local roads is like 70 kilometers an hour or something. It's like ridiculously high. Um, but yeah, it is. It was a very sad event. Some of you may have read the news about it if you're like from Sydney. And yet again, my heart goes out to all the victims affected. Um, but yeah, like that's something I also got to be cautious of when it comes to you know, me as a pedestrian looking out for other cars and all that, because a lot of cars on the road nowadays are big and bulky SUVs, and those are quite dangerous because often the driver in those SUVs they can't see like little children on the roads and all that because they're like so high up. It's basically like a truck driver, right? Because a truck driver is like really high up. You wouldn't be able to see like all the people down below. So that's another thing. And yeah, always be safe out on the roads. It doesn't matter if you're a pedestrian or a driver. Obviously, roads, driver, but like when you're pedestrian crossing the road, you gotta really be careful because you never know when someone might like make a wrong turn. You might be distracted. You might not look both ways and go at the incorrect time. Always go take care. All right. And yeah, I didn't want to end this, I guess, on a sort of like dark note. But yeah, like that's why I guess road rage can be dangerous because obviously I'm talking about this separately now. I'm just talking about how I guess road rage and even like stopping in the middle of the road to confront the other person. It's kind of stupid, because you got cars coming right behind you and you don't want to slow down traffic and someone might like be speeding down and like rear end you. Don't do that. Not especially not on like a highway. you know so yeah. Yeah, always be cautious, safe driver. Like I said, um, I guess when you're angry and all that on the road, like I saw that taxi driver, that could really pose a serious situation, not only to you but people around you as well. And obviously, if you're a driver, especially when you're in a truck or large SUV, you always got to take care. Check your blind spots and all that because yeah, um, unfortunately there was that I guess road incident. um, I think it was like it happened on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it was absolutely horrible, but you know, that's why we got to take precaution on the roads, and obviously, you got to be in the control of the vehicle at all times. You always got to be in control of the vehicle. Never let your emotions take over your control of the vehicle. and be safe and cautious driver. Um, Not like that, I guess, taxi driver which I saw today. But anyway, that's enough of me talking. And yeah, just drive safe, wear a seatbelt, and look out for any old maps at train stations. I'll definitely like to see your suggestions down in the comments below, and maybe I'll check it out in person, see if it's still there. I know some of the old Sydney monorail stations are like still up. Like the Darling Harbour one and the World Square one. I wonder if they have like maps inside. That could also be a contender, but we're looking for pre 2005. So yeah, it will be, I guess, a tough challenge, but I'll be on the lookout. Anyway, that's enough of me talking, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye, see ya, take care. Catch you all tomorrow.